Well, good evening. Welcome to our Mesa City Council meeting for March 17, 2025. Thank you for your patience. We've had to get some blue cards situated here. Councilmember Heredia is participating by Zoom, and all our council members are here present. We're going to begin with an invocation by Pastor Brian Crane of the Eternal Life Lutheran Church, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll all stand. Thank you. Pastor.
The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Timothy chapter 2, "First of all, then, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way." So let us pray. Eternal Lord, ruler of all, graciously regard those who have been set in positions of authority among us, especially the mayor and council members of our city, that guided by your Spirit, they may be high in purpose, wise in counsel, firm in good resolution, and unwavering in duty, that under them we may be governed quietly and peaceably. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So item one is our consent agenda, and Mr. Christopher, if you'll come forward to read the consent agenda, and we'll be taking two items off. I'll do that after you're done.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. These are the items on the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk will be considered as a group by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless a council member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Item 2, approval of minutes of previous meetings as written. Item 3A, act on liquor license application for Liquor House, 735 East McKellips Road. Item 3B, act on liquor license application for the Drink All, 235 North Country Club Drive. Item 3C, act on liquor license application for Mei Kong Thai Tapas, 1649 South Stapley Drive. Item 3D, act on liquor license application for Chilaquiles Modern Kitchen, 1804 South Signal Butte Road. Item 4A, approving contract for Gansel Road high pressure gas line installation, construction manager at risk, guaranteed maximum price number 1 of 1. Item 4B, approving contract for Fire Station 224, construction manager at risk, guaranteed maximum price number 1 of 1. This project is funded by the 2022 public safety bonds. Item 4C, approving 3-year term contract with 2-year renewal options for heart monitors, AEDs, and ventilators for the Mesa Fire Medical Department. Item 4D, approving contract to purchase 3 self-contained breathing apparatus and helmet washing machines for the Mesa Fire Medical Department. Item 4E, approving dollar limit increase for the purchase of 2 CNG-powered automated side loader refuse trucks and 2 front loader refuse trucks for the Solid Waste and Fleet Services Departments. Item 4F, approving use of a cooperative contract for the purchase of 1 roll-off refuse truck for the Solid Waste and Fleet Services Departments. Item 4G, approving use of a cooperative contract for the purchase of 2 utility service body crew trucks for the Fleet Services and Water Resources Departments. Item 4H, approving 1-year term use of a cooperative contract with 4-year renewal options for playgrounds, splash pads, outdoor fitness, and related equipment for the Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities Department. Item 4I, approving contract to purchase bore shields and wraps for the Energy Resources Department. Item 5A, approving resolution to execute a project agreement with the Maricopa Association of Governments for the Power Road East Maricopa Floodway to Santan Freeway Loop 202 Arterial Improvement Project and related reimbursements for 70% of the project design cost. Item 5B, approving resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds, Series 2025. Item 5C, approving resolution authorizing the sale, execution, and delivery of utility systems revenue obligations, Series 2025. Item 5D, approving resolution modifying fees and charges for the Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities Department. Item 5E, approving resolution extinguishing a 1-foot vehicular non-access easement. Item 6A, introduction of ordinance amending the City Code Title 5, Chapter 7 to exempt those who solely sell secondhand goods. And item 7A, approving ordinance for zoning case 25-89, annexing approximately 3.3 acres of county right-of-way along South 222nd Street from East Pecos Road, extending approximately 2,200 feet into the city, which transfers this right-of-way to the city. Mayor and council members, these are the items on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Christopher. Is there a second? Okay. We're going to remove items 5B and 5C from the consent agenda. Ms. Mosley, is there any other items to be removed?
No, Mayor Freeman.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we have a motion by Ms. Spilsbury and a second by Vice Mayor Summers. Please vote.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Heredia. Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move forward now on item 5B. We have Mr. Winstanley, if you'd like to come forward and speak about 5B. And we'll do that as well as you might as well follow with 5C. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, honored councilmen and women, esteemed staff members. My name is David Winstanley. I live in Eastmark, District 6. Thank you for letting me speak again. I have two questions regarding the general obligation bonds. I honestly spent all day since about 6 a.m. this morning trying to answer them myself. I couldn't find it on your website, so I'm going to ask it here. The first question is, how does this resolution relate to questions 2 and 3 passed by the city voters in November? Question 2 was for $90 million for public safety. Question 3 was $170 million for parks, recreation, and culture. This measure combines both these subjects for $168 million, including $106.5 million for public safety, which is more than the $90 million. Could you explain, and I apologize if this is a dumb question, but I literally could not find it on your website. And it may have been answered downstairs, but I couldn't follow the back and forth. It was too fast. The second question is, for all of the bonds being discussed tonight, both GO and utility bonds, the amounts being asked for are being used to cover negative balances on prior debt proceeds. For example, for the public safety GO bonds, only $71 million is being used for new construction and $35 million is being used for prior debt proceeds. Could you explain this? Does this mean prior bonds were overspent? If so, did the council approve that? Did the detailed wording of question 3 include language to pay off prior proceeds? Thank you.
All right. I'll turn to Mr. Brady and his staff for, and we tried to write them as fast as you were talking.
So the
yes.
first one, I'll answer the first one. Where is Mark? Where's Mark? Okay, Mark, you'll get the second one. Thank you for the question. So what we will do too, I think to help you, because I don't think it's been posted on the website, but we have the presentation that we had for council that explained where all these proceeds are, how they're being used.
I did review that. It's available.
So what you will find in there is that these proceeds that are being sold are covering projects that go clear back to 2018. So it's not just what the new authorization in 2024, it includes prior year projects that were now either under construction or will commence construction. So for example, the Northeast Public Safety Facility is out in Northeast Mesa. It's already under construction, has been, will be completed soon. So we're using these proceeds, these sell bonds to help reimburse us for some of that cost. So I won't go through every one of them, but there's a variety of different years that are included.
And now I remember the slide and I didn't get
That's
it,
what
but-
that meant, right.
Okay.
Your second question, because I think Mark's gonna have to answer, but you use the term, what was the term you, negative?
Debt proceeds, which is, I thought, what you just answered.
Okay, yes, sorry. Did we answer your questions?
Yeah, other than you're saying that this proposal is not related specifically
No,
to...
it includes a lot of other prior authorizations that were now, those projects are now being either funded or reimbursed for.
Yeah. Thank you for taking council time to educate me. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Last Thursday's study session.
Oh, last Thursday's study session, you can go online and watch that too.
And you can also have access to the presentation.
Yeah, we'll get to the presentation. We'll send
There's
you-
a
I got it. I read it.
The presentation from Thursday, there's a slide that lists like 2018 projects, 2020, 2022, like it lists the year and how much money from each of those bond.
Oh, no, I did not see that.
There's
Okay.
a really good
That's when you
slide
need to
on
look
that.
at.
Okay.
There's also in the council report, it puts
not
it in
read the council
aggregate,
report.
yeah, so
Okay.
you can see where they're coming from.
Okay.
Mr. Brady, you had a good presentation downstairs at our prior meeting that discussed how we sell them as the project goes on. We can't just We can't just sell the bonds and
Right.
hold on to that money. Would you explain that
Yeah,
a
so
little bit too?
that's a great point. So while we may be authorized for projects clear back to 2018, even a little earlier than, or sooner than that, or later than that, we don't actually want to issue the debt and put it out for sale until the project is ready to go, right? So there's a timing issue that we're using here too. And 2018 bonds, we were impacted by construction inflation. We paused everything during COVID, then construction inflation hit us. So there's a lot of timing issues that take place here before you'll see them now where we're seeking reimbursement or funding for those projects.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak on 5C?
I would if you're ready for
Okay.
me. All right. I won't introduce myself again since you know, and I suspect most of you recognize me anyway. I do have 3 questions on the utility bonds. Will passage of this proposal on utility bonds require a rate increase when you revisit that subject in the fall? It seems a bit backward to agree to spending more money on bonds before you have the income to pay for them, or am I not understanding? And perhaps it was just answered, and thank you. Second question is, are you aware that by approving the $307 million, you're automatically increasing the tax on the citizens by a minimum of $90 million over the time frame of the bond due to the automatic 30% surcharge on utility bills? I'm sure you're tired of hearing this subject, but I believe that any reasonable person will interpret that the city of Mesa passing utility bonds results in a tax increase on its citizens. And the last questions is, will any of the projects being approved tonight require additional capital projects in the future to complete or to be effective, thereby further increasing the utility rate increase? I'm asking because, as your CFO, Michael Kennington, has explained to me, in the City Council report on the utility rate increase from December had information on anticipated future debt service, while the presentation for tonight, page 12, did not include that. And so there's a big difference in that. The utility rate City Council report showed an increase planned over the next 5 years of 44% in utility rates. And that's above what's already been passed. All of that increase in that City Council report is driven by debt service transfer, not by operating account inflation. I understand from the budget session that things are tight for the city, but all the more reason to understand bonds and planning. And I know some of these were answered, but I wrote my questions before I knew, so.
So Mayor, just real quick, so that presentation we keep referring you to, that also includes the utility side?
Yep.
And so when we talk about rate increases, you're right. The investment in the infrastructure for the City of Mesa infrastructure is included in those anticipated rate increases into the future. And that's why they're at the smaller levels over a period of time. But we've also tried to anticipate the needs of the capital improvements for the City of Mesa over the next 10 to 15 years. So most of this debt that is being sold is already anticipated in those rates that we've already shared with the council. So the council can see, and we went through a chart that they saw that showed not only historical payments, but projecting out 20 to 30 years of currently what we have, what we will be selling and what our needs are for the future. So that's already anticipated.
But in that chart, it shows very flat interest and principal.
We try very, very hard to maintain that smooth.
My point being that in the City Council report from the December City Council report on the utility rate increases, it shows it increasing. And I was trying to
understand. Shows what increasing?
The debt service, debt transfer service. That's where the 44% came from.
There's no debt service transfer. So the debt payment, we try to keep that smooth.
It's called debt service transfer in your summary.
So
that's where I got the words.
In the chart that we have that drives the budget for the utility funds, we show a slightly increasing debt service, but it peaks, and then we try to keep that fairly smooth over the long period of time. So that's the answer to the first part, that the future rates already anticipate a lot of that future debt service payments.
Okay.
additional debt selling does not count towards the transfer amount. That's driven by revenues coming in. This is not a revenue necessarily. I mean, it's a financing for paying for debt, but it's not considered what you're calculating as additional dollars that goes towards the transfer to support public safety. That's not included, okay? And then
I'll have a discussion with Mr. Kennington.
that's
but
really what you probably should spend some
because,
time with
yeah,
him.
what we're saying is not in agreement. So it's
Okay.
probably not a great place to have that discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So with that, I'll entertain a motion for 5B and 5C. Can we do that? Combine the two? Mr.
One
Smith?
motion on two.
One motion on 5B and 5C.
That was all the cards?
Pardon?
That was all the blue cards?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do one motion.
On those.
Okay. Council, I'll entertain a motion for 5B and 5C. I have a motion by Ms. Spilsbury, second by Ms. Duff. All in favor, say aye. Or vote.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Heredia. Okay, it's unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you. Well, thank you for everybody's patience. And I'm sorry some of you didn't get the information. We usually allow 3 speakers for 3 minutes, but I know there's a lot of you here to speak on certain things. So we're going to allow, I've got the first 3 speakers and then a spokesperson we kind of group the others together. And so those individuals, that one person I call, I'm just going to do by the order it was received on the blue card. So that person will speak for your group. And then you can come forward at a future council meeting. And we do that first come, first serve. Ms. Mosley, you want to explain that?
Yes, so for items from citizens present, it is the rule is we allow 3 speakers, 3 minutes each. It is up to the mayor to accept another card or 2 if we only had a few speakers, or a lot of you maybe requested one subject matter, and so you designated a spokesperson. I know my deputies in the back took a name of one person that said you would speak for the group for the lofts, for instance, is a big subject. We received multiple, probably a dozen cards for the lofts. There were a lot of other cards received that were just random subjects, and he probably will not allow all of those speakers because there were probably 10 more that were just random individual subjects. So because of the group, I think you'll take the 4th one to be a spokesperson for the group. The first 3 will be as received.
Sure, and we'll see how it plays out. So our first speaker will be Michael Steffen. Michael, if you'll come forward, please, and say your name and address.
Mayor, Council, my name is Mike Steffen. I reside at 2626 North Chestnut Circle in Mesa. I love Mesa. I grew up here, went to Dobson High School, and now I raise my kids here. I'm accompanied today by Brad and Kim Arnett that live across from the subject property that we're here to discuss, Rochelle DeRiso, who lives next door to the subject property, Amy Johnson, who lives down the street, and Christine Kempton, who lives around the corner from the property. Last month, permit number PMT 24-21631, that's PMT 24-21631, was approved by the City of Mesa without a special use permit. This is for a residential care facility at 2338 East Minton Street in Mesa. This house is 2 doors to the west of 24th Street on Minton. It backs to Hermosa Vista Elementary if you were to look at it on a map. So I could throw a basketball. In fact, Amy used to have a tree house up against the wall because she lives next door there. And the kids used to climb over the fence to go to school at Hermosa Vista Elementary. And this house is in the same situation. To understand sort of the dynamics, I'm sure you understand elementary schools. There are lines of cars down Minton Street every morning with children walking back and forth. My children ride bikes back and forth to the Johnsons every day. My children have had lemonade stands literally on the corner of Minton and 24th Street as a regular occurrence during the summer because they need to earn and save money. So with the approval of this, I'm of 2 minds. Why was it approved without a special use permit? In the City of Mesa zoning ordinance, community residences are broken into two: family community residences and transitional community residences. Family community residences have a minimum length of 1 year. They are permitted by right in the RS zone. Transitional community residences, as it says in the zoning ordinance, have a tendency less than a year that is measured in weeks or months, as determined by either in practice or by the rules. This is required to have a special use permit in the RS zone. This is an RS 15 zone. As you can see, the special use permit is required here for transitional care facilities. This permit was issued without a special use permit, and they are now applying to the state in order to gain their state license to operate a facility that is used for the rehabilitation of drug addicts, people with co-occurring conditions of schizophrenia or other mental disorders that occur with an addiction or other sexual addictions, as they state on their website. So that you understand that I am not just a NIMBY neighbor, I'm a developer by trade. I believe in property owner rights to my core. I also believe in thoughtful placing of items, of facilities like this. I also have a brother who has co-occurring conditions and lives today in a residence like this. So I understand these residences, and I understand that they should not be next to a school. I also understand that they should not have been approved without a special use permit. The last thing I will say, if I misunderstand my reading of the zoning ordinance, why does the City of Mesa not regulate these more than they do child daycares? Why does the City of Mesa not regulate these more than they do fine high-end dining or retail establishments? Why do I have to, if I have a home-based business that has 2 professionals that show up every day to work, get a special use permit? But yet, if I'm going to treat drug addicts next to an elementary school where they could throw paraphernalia over the fence, why do I not have to have a special use permit? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's well noted in District 1. We'll probably reach out to you. Alex Brancic, come forward, please. And on deck is Antoinette Andruzzi after Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Alex Ranicic, Los Andes, District 5. Thank you, Mayor, council members. We would like to thank the City of Mesa for removing the DEI landing page on your website. Now that we would like to ask that the remaining breadcrumbs of the DEI spread throughout the rest of the city's website also be removed. If you need detailed information, we can provide that for you. But the main reason I'm here today is to follow up on the public comment from last meeting regarding the city's non-discrimination ordinance. John Adams said our form of government, a constitutional republic, only works with a moral and religious people and wholly inadequate for any other. This is why communism hates our form of government and screams for a democracy. My family escaped communism in the 1980s and 4 years ago from California. I've come to learn of an interesting term that is not widely known, but used by communist revolutionaries. But first, I must ask, have you found yourselves wondering any of the following? How is it that men can now have babies? How is it that men can now menstruate? How is it that men can now play in women's sports? And how is it that men can now go into girl bathrooms and locker rooms, and that this is okay with the City of Mesa in your non-discrimination ordinance? Michelle Obama said it best, quote, Barack knows we're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to change our conversation. We're going to have to change our traditions, our history. We will have to move into a different place as a nation to provide the type of future we all want desperately, close quote. The communist term that explains all of this is accelerate the contradictions. So when things don't make sense, it's because some group is accelerating the contradictions and getting the City of Mesa to go along. And that is where all of this nonsense comes from. As a husband and father of a daughter, my number one responsibility is to protect my family first. And God forbid that one hair is harm to my wife's or my daughter's hair on their head because of this immoral ordinance. So we call on the good husbands and fathers of daughters. Let the city of Mesa know where you stand on allowing men in girl bathrooms and locker rooms. It's easy. Just send them an email. As a city council, your main priority is the safety of your citizens. Some of you voted for this immoral nonsense. Some of you still wholeheartedly support it. We ask you to be moral and protect the women of Mesa by abolishing the current non-discrimination ordinance. Mesa should not be accelerating the contradictions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Antoinette? Thank you, Antoinette.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank the council for the time to address you, as specifically to our mayor, Mark Freeman. I've seen you attending local meetings along with your constituents, and I see that you're really an active leader, and I appreciate each opportunity that I've had to interact with you, and I look forward to speaking again with you. My name is Antoinette Andruzzi. I'm a Mesa resident, entrepreneur, and a single mother of twins. I've lived in Mesa since March of 21. I chose Mesa because I long to give my kids a simpler kind of life, like the one I fondly remember having in my hometown of Chicago before extreme ideologies and communist-style lockdowns took hold of my beautiful city. However, that dream has come to a screeching halt. Mesa has never been a city of hatred, yet the legislation that some of you are rejoicing over, labeled as a non-discrimination ordinance, is nothing more than a disgusting front to posture to a demographic that holds less than 1% of the market share. Containing vague language in 5609 kicks the door open for many who choose to use and abuse the language to prey on our children. As a survivor of sexual assault and a mother to a beautiful 13-year-old daughter who is also very active in sports, I absolutely do not want our precious girls sharing spaces that are meant to be safe and private with men. The choice of the city of Mesa to double down on these trans ideologies is really what has led me to have to pull my kids from school. As parents, we're called to protect our children. As followers of Jesus Christ, it is clear in the word in Matthew 18:6, but whoever causes one of those little ones to sin, would it be better to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned into the depths of the sea? I don't know about you, council, but these words sit heavy on my heart. We are all accountable to God. And as council members, you are also accountable to your constituents. I'm respectfully asking that you please do the right thing for your community and the families that choose to call Mesa home, and repeal this ordinance immediately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Antoinette. So we appreciate the outpouring of support and clapping. If you could keep a little quieter, we'd appreciate that. What I'd like to do next is, as you know, we can't respond to your comments because they're not on the agenda, but we are taking notes of that, and as council, we respond to that. But I would like to ask that Monica Phillips come up and speak to us. She'd wish to speak, followed by Paul Burton. And then I'll use those as the two spokespersons for this group. I've kind of put it together. So Monica, come on up, and then on deck is Paul Burton.
Good evening, Mayor Freeman and City Council members. My name is Monica Phillips. My husband James is here in attendance as well. We live in the community of Eastmark. For my family's safety, I am choosing not to share my address tonight, if that's all right with you. We are here this evening to simply say thank you to all of you. When our family moved to Mesa from Southern California almost 7 years ago, we didn't know how we would be received in our neighborhood, in our conservative LDS faith community, and in our new city. We came with our 5 children. Among them, we have a son who was a transgender young adult and who had just socially transitioned weeks before moving. And we also have a daughter who is gay. We had been well accepted in our California community, and many were nervous for us to make this move. But we have found Mesa to be an incredible place to live. It's not just a city, of streets lined with houses and buildings. Mesa is a community where people of all ages, races, religions, and experiences can come together and serve each other and strengthen each other through our diversity. In Eastmark, we have community members who have come from all over the country and the world. We are pleased and proud to call them our neighbors. We want to say thank you to the City of Mesa for leading out and promoting respect for all of your citizens. Thank you for celebrating and honoring the diversity of your residents with various cultural and religious events throughout the year. Thank you for making your programs accessible to those who are hearing or sight impaired. Thank you for caring for our elderly, for our homeless, for our disabled, our veterans. Thank you for prioritizing literacy, autism, our children, and our environment. Thank you for spotlighting our Good Samaritans, our businesses, and historical figures from our past who have left an amazing legacy here in our community. Thank you for marching in Phoenix Pride, for letting my children know that this is a safe place for them to be. And thank you especially for promoting kindness in our community. Councilwoman Spilsbury, you are an incredible asset to this council and to our community. We thank you for going out of your way to get to know our family personally, even though we live in a different district. That shows me you care about every citizen and not just the people who are voting for you. And then you advocated to make sure the City of Mesa has equal rights, not only for my children, but for every single citizen. It is for this reason that my son and daughter have purchased a home here in Mesa where they feel safe, respected, and are treated with dignity. It gives us pride to live in a community where our elected officials lead through compassionate service. We are grateful for your example and for your friendship, Julie. Thank you. Mayor Freeman and council members, just like a house is not a home without love, respect, and acceptance of all its members, a city is not a community without love, respect, and acceptance of every resident. We encourage each of you to continue to do all you can to foster and strengthen this legacy that is Mesa. Again, thank you all.
Thank you, Monica. Those are kind words. Paul Burton, are you here?
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Paul Burton. I live in Mesquite Canyon in Mesa. I think it's District 6. And I'm not going to be as organized as everybody else has come up today, but no less passionate. I want to say that I love Mesa. I'm proud to live here. I'm proud to be a citizen. It's been an awesome place to live, and I'm sure it will continue to be so. A place where I'm proud that Mesa has been the first city to become autism certified. I'm a parent of a high-functioning autistic child, and it's great to be somewhere where not everybody has to look the same or act the same or come from the same belief systems. It's kind of a great city to live in where people with different belief systems, even people who have belief systems and want to impose those on other people, they're still welcome here, right? Like it's a place where we can all live and tolerate each other and get along and still thrive as a community. Let's see here. So I love that it's a diverse community that has equality for all of its citizens, and that is inclusive for all types of populations. Boy, aren't those great words? Diverse, equal, inclusive. I mean, what are great words we wouldn't want to be a part of and be associated with, right? To attack diversity, equality, and inclusion seems crazy and just out of control. Like I can't fathom why someone would not want this to be part of their lives and in their communities. A place where everybody can feel comfortable and safe and welcome. Let's see here, a city full of kindness. It's really fascinating to think that this would be something that I'd feel so motivated to come out and speak on. But know that I have a wide range of influence. I mean, as all of everybody here does, right? Families, I mean, everybody I know, people who voted both sides of the aisle, they all love these things. They are all LGBTQ allies. They are all supportive. They like that America represents and our city and our state represents a place where people can live, thrive, and get along and have diverse, open dialogues where we can learn from each other and be exposed to more than one way of thought. It's really, really impressive. It's sad to be in a place where one of our council women could be tried to kick, booted, I don't know all the terms, right, but kicked out of office just because she spoke her mind openly and didn't quite fall in line with the way maybe the majority of people think on an issue. I think that's outrageous. We should welcome diverse thought. We should engage it. We should seek out our own biases, try to understand where are we wrong on an idea. How could I understand someone a little better? How could I see the qualities in someone that is different than myself? And so I'm about out of time. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for making City awesome. I really enjoy living here. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. We're going to move forward to, this is not on the agenda, 121 Lofts on Beverly. And I know I have a lot of cards here, but chosen one spokesperson, and that is Linda Spy. Linda, if you are here, obviously you are, and we will have you come forward and speak. And if you have more than 3 minutes, I'll give you 4 minutes.
I appreciate it. And I don't think anybody's going to miss my voice. First off, I'd like to invite my neighbors to please stand up. Y'all filled out cards. Come on, kids, you too. We have some folks take a little longer because many of us are getting old. As you see, we have riled the masses. We have roused the rabble, our ducks in a row, and doggone this squeaky wheel, this wheel's going to squeak. Hopefully, you've received some emails from my neighborhood. This project will double the size of our neighborhood. Plain and simple, we have 70 homes. You're talking about increasing car traffic in our little roads by 500 vehicle events a day. Please, this is not the Daytona 500, and they already act like it is coming down from the school on Westwood. We have people on Westwood driving so fast that many people feel like throwing bricks through their windows, but you can't even jump out in front of them fast enough because they're driving that fast. Other properties that are going to be built and added in that area on Beverly, just north of Main Street, will increase it to 100 people more, 100 homes more. My God, folks, crime is inevitable. It's inevitable. We have enough problems with the people that come off of Main Street and terrorize our front porches. You think I'm kidding? We give up calling. We don't even call the cops anymore because, they stole something off your porch. It happens all the time. They stole plants from my porch. They took kids come by and chop the top off of my cactus, okay? We have in our neighborhood over 70 children. We have through our neighborhood every day over 100 children who are walking from the 3 schools that are right up Westwood North of University. These kids and our kids are not safe if we have 500 or 600 more vehicles in our neighborhood. This development is way out of whack. Number one, not a single one of us cares that it's going to look like a pigeon coop. Not a single one. It's ugly, 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 ugly. Second, we have $500,000 homes plus in our neighborhood. Do you realize we're the only Main Street neighborhood that has homes worth over $500,000? For more than that, you got to go up by where the hospital used to be, up by 8th, north of University. You're not going to find them down off of Main Street. People are starting to sell their homes. We have had 2 people in the neighborhood list their homes already because they're like, I'm not putting up with this. No way. We already have chain link fences, 4-link chain link fences, 4-foot chain link fences because of the trash that walks through our neighborhood. We have one home that we do have problems with in the neighborhood. For some reason it's a halfway house. The cops have been there 170 times last year, and we can't get them to do anything about it. In the meanwhile, the traffic. Oh my God, the traffic. We have a gentleman that lives right on the corner of 2nd and Beverly in a wheelchair. This guy hardly goes out. He's so scared of traffic, and now he won't go out at all. He is so afraid he can't go out. He comes to my house. He goes down to the church. He likes to get to McDonald's every once in a while. He's not going to go out there anymore. He's terrified. He's just plain terrified. We have speeders with no regard. We have so much coming off of the train station, it's not funny. And if this is going to be, if traffic's going to be a problem, we would like to suggest something. Make it a cul-de-sac. Let it be Beverly Court. If the traffic is going to ruin our neighborhood, no, let it go down to Main Street and be a city problem, not our neighborhood's problem. We don't need it.
Linda, you have 1 more minute.
Okay. We have a lot of other problems with this place. They're talking about bringing in poor people again. I'm sorry, I was poor myself, but I worked hard not to be anymore. And people who do not share our values will not share our values. They just don't. They will not honor our neighborhood. They will not honor the people. 70 years, 50 years, 60 years, people don't leave this neighborhood. We're only the 3rd person to live on our property. They don't move. We want this stopped. We feel like this is just a complete aberration, and everybody else who wants to speak is going to tell you the same thing. This is just wrong. We're an old neighborhood. We don't need further development. We do not need revitalization. We do not have a bunch of bums living in our neighborhood. We have people who take care of their yards, people who show respect for each other, and people who honor our neighborhood. We want to see that continue. We would like to see single-family residences.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome, sir.
Next, we'll hear from Frankie Bauer. Is that correct? Frankie, are you here? Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Which card do you have?
I have cul-de-sac development.
Oh, okay. Really quick, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here today as residents of the city to show that you care and to really speak about the things that we care about. Because yes, we did elect everybody up here to represent us, but don't forget that it's still our job to keep them informed on as things change, how we feel and what we'd like to do, because otherwise that leaves them no choice but to assume, and we all know what happens when we do that. So the cul-de-sac, Mr. Mayor, I am Frankie Bauer. I am in District 6, and for the cul-de-sac topic first, I just wanted to give some a little bit of perspective from one of your residents. I took a drive in Tempe, and you guys had a great conversation about this, I think 2 study sessions ago, on 2 Thursdays ago. And you guys had some really good points, and I know we're not to the end yet where you guys are gonna finalize all of that, but Saturday, this last Saturday, I had a chance to be out. It was probably one of the most gorgeous days that we've had in a long time. I don't know if you guys had a chance to be out there. The weather was beautiful, very clear skies. So I drove around, and I went to cul-de-sac, and even though it was a beautiful day, there was nobody outside. So we walked around cul-de-sac, there was nobody out there, no families playing. All of the retail centers that were at the lower level were pretty empty. And I do think that the cul-de-sac development could be a very good thing, so I don't want to create that perception. I just want to make sure that you guys continue to have some feedback specifically from your residents to kind of echo some of the things that you guys highlighted in your meeting a couple weeks ago. The parking is going to be a very big issue, so I appreciate that you guys did call out that we need to make sure that there's enough parking. There was no parking there, and it was a problem. Keeping the focus on the units themselves being affordable and that they are for sale units, I think will also be an important piece. Those are all rentals. It's an apartment complex, as you guys know. And there was very limited green belts in the area. In fact, if you even go to their website and kind of see their breakdown, there's not a lot of green areas. When they promote the vibrancy of Tempe, they're actually promoting a lot of the local surrounding areas, not necessarily their facility. So paying close attention to the retail units that'll be at the lower levels, while it's a great idea, just keep an eye on what's there so that it's something that people can actually get use out of. And I have a question, and I know you can't answer me, but I would love to understand this in general, not necessarily just specific to these units, but how can we, this is a great example of this, how can we prevent the property investors from coming in and buying the ones that are actually going to be for sale, so that we can make sure that we ensure that the build truly does benefit our residents. That's all I have on that topic.
Thank you. All right, moving forward, Jonathan or Sasha Spidel. Is that the right? If you'll come forward and talk. And Frankie, he'll speak on the same topic you are, so you're.
Hello,
so you're off the
everybody.
hook.
I would like to introduce myself. I primarily go by Sasha, as you mentioned on the card. Before I get started on my agenda, I want to thank an individual over here who talked about equality, and I really appreciate that because that means a lot to me as an individual. Anyway, continuing on my agenda, I have been doing my own extensive research on improving our roadways and whatnot. And one of the things I would like to focus on today especially is better implementation of traffic signals. I even came up with my own system that I think would work better. One of the main focuses is especially on bigger intersections, including signals that feature more left turn yields with the flashing yellow arrow, because I feel like that would increase or decrease the amount of time it takes for people to travel to work, to events, wherever they're headed. That being said, I think it would also be beneficial to people if they're if there was an individual traffic light for each lane, if that makes sense. Let's see. As regarding to that, I do believe that would be a great thing for our community, for Mesa going into Tempe, because I travel a lot between Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, all that jazz. And I think that would be a great addition to our roadways moving forward.
Thank you. Anything else?
That will be all for today.
All right, thanks, Sasha. Appreciate that. So for the record, we have 20 blue cards regarding the 121 lofts on Beverly, and also Amy Johnson and Kristen Kempton also regarding the rehab center there on Minton. So, okay, everything is done. Appreciate everybody for coming and appreciate your remarks. And thank you for being engaged in community issues. You know, we listen to you. And I know some of you driving from Eastmark. Thank you. It's a long drive. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Ms. Spilsbury.
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. We're adjourned for the evening. Thank you, everyone.
Whose bottle of water is this?